Hi everybody, welcome to Afterburner. I'm Bill Whittle. Well, this country and the world has lost an irreplaceable individual. Everyone who knew him talked about the depth of his character, the deep reservoirs of his soul from which he drew so much of his public persona that everyone that knew him so adored. When he was young, he was so playful and so fun to be with and so full of life and energy that it sometimes seemed that just sparks flew off his heels when he walked down the street. But there were warning signs too. He drank too much and moods would take him, moods dark and lonely and terribly isolating, moods that would make the people around him wonder if they'd said or done something to hurt his feelings. And when the news came that he had in fact killed himself, the pain of it was blunted somehow by the sense that we knew it was coming, that there were problems and indicators that something was just terribly wrong and we just didn't know what we could do to help. But one thing's for sure, that was a real individual. There's never been anyone quite like him and there never will be again. But with the deepest respect and condolences to his family, I'm not talking about Robin Williams. I'm talking about every one of the other 20 or so U.S. veterans that also killed themselves on August 11th, 2014. Robin Williams, to his everlasting credit, continued to be active in supporting our veterans, and it's certainly not my point here to minimize his death in any way. My point is simply this: 20 times a day, more or less, people who are just as real, just as lovable and unique and precious as Robin Williams die by their own hand, and the world doesn't ring like a bell when it happens. In fact, aside from their families and friends, no one seems to notice or even care. But those people, every one of them, were as important and precious to their friends and families as Robin Williams was to his. We need to recognize that, and we need to do something about it. And when I say we, I don't mean the President or the Defense Department or the VA or anyone else in the government that obviously doesn't give much of a damn about this issue in the same way they don't give much of a damn about any issue. The government has no feelings, it has no remorse, it has no grief and no responsibility, but we do. So what can we do to try to prevent this terrible harvest of self-destruction which kills every single year more than the total combined deaths in combat of both Iraq and Afghanistan in total since the attacks of 9/11? Just think about that for a second. We've had something around 5,200 soldiers killed in combat in Afghanistan and Iraq in total from 2001 to the present, and in general numbers, something like 7,000 U.S. veterans are killed every single year by their own hand. No, that's our problem. When people volunteer to risk their lives in our defense, and in doing so, they suffer psychological wounds so horrible that they do to themselves what the enemies of freedom could not do, that's not the government's problem, or Obama's problem, or the VA's problem. No, that's our problem. That's my problem. That's your problem. So let me start out by telling you what you can do. You can find and support veterans organizations, private organizations. These private groups are on a mission. They're on a personal and private mission to do something about this. Find one you like and support it with money if you can and time and effort if you cannot. But if you own a business or are otherwise in a position to do so, you have to make it your personal mission to hire a veteran. I'll bet you anything that one single act is more of a lifesaver than any other thing that happens in that person's life. You want to stop this deadly harvest? Hire a vet. And this weekend, why don't you take the family to the nearest VA hospital? Just pack them up and make them go. Go visit these men and women. Let them know how much what they have done means to you and your family. And give them a business card or a Facebook link or a phone number, but give them the conviction that there's someone they can count on out there. Adopt one of the men or women that have protected with their lives or their sanity you and your family. It's important to them. It means a lot. It's even more important experience for your family, I guarantee it. Now, as for me, well, if you're one of those people who are in this living hell right now, let me just say this to you. Like Robin Williams and like so many of the men and women who've killed themselves after serving their country, I too have suffered from serious depression my entire life, so I'm speaking from experience here. Medication helps enormously, but medication is a surgical bandage applied to keep you from bleeding out so that you can live long enough to get the actual treatment that can save your life. Medical treatment in this case consists of therapy and counseling. Drugs and drinking, which by some miracle of grace I was spared from, are just a morphine shot in the leg to kill the pain, but that pain does not heal the wounds you've suffered, and if you don't go to the wounds themselves, eventually you're going to die, and we don't want that to happen. Now, 12-step programs are like life support. You have no idea what it's like to walk into a school gymnasium or a church hall or any other empty building at 7:30 at night and be surrounded by people who don't just pretend to care about you. They do care about you. They're trying to save your life because that's what they have to do to save their own lives. You cannot imagine what that will do to you, to be surrounded by the genuine concern of strangers who've led your own life. So if you get a chance, go out to a meeting, go today. Now, I went every day. I often went twice a day, and during the holidays I went 3 times a day for an entire year. It saved my life. It could save your life too. Now look, the therapy is going to be hard. It's going to be harder than the physical therapy. It's going to be the hardest thing you've ever had to do. But the therapy is the surgery, and it will not only save your life, it will over time get the pain under control to the point where most of the time anyway, most of the time you don't even notice it. It's not easy to go down into the basement with a flashlight and look at all those red eyes staring back at you. But by having the courage to go down there, and you have the courage, you know you do, that's why you put on the uniform, you will find that it's the light that these subconscious demons can't stand. You look them in the eyes, you rob them of their power. You look at them long enough and they go away. You're just gonna have to take my word for this. And one final thing to those veterans who pay a price for serving their country every day. You see this? This is freedom. This is human dignity. This allows little girls who you've never met to go to school without being mortared. This is the sign of warriors who put themselves in front of and not behind enemy civilians. Despite what cynics and liars and bastards of every stripe may want to tell you, this is honor and dignity and freedom, and you wore this and you defended it. Politics and politicians and even the mission don't matter. And it doesn't matter if you wore the flag in combat or in the bowels of a supply ship peeling potatoes or in the back office of a base in Louisiana filling out requisition forms. If you had this on your arm, you're a better man or woman than I am, and I owe you more than you will ever imagine. Like you, I was lost, and I was alone, and I was unknown. I wasn't a movie star, and I didn't have legions of adoring strangers to cheer me up. I was just a scared and angry and lonely person. I was a guy with a great future behind him, but I didn't give up. I just got through that day or that hour or the next 5 minutes, 1 second at a time, and this is the entire point of everything I've tried to say today. I didn't do it alone because ultimately no one can save your own life but you. You have to make the call. You have to get the help. It's there. So do it. Do it now. So if you're drinking to kill the pain, find an AA meeting and go today. If you do drugs, go to NA. It's where the cool kids hang out anyway. Go find some veterans aid associations and call them. Find the local ones and make the call. You have to take the first step, because if you do, the next thing you know, you're going to have fellow servicemen and women, one under each arm, and they're going to help carry you out of this battle in your head that never ends. You have to do it. You have to do it for you. You have to do it for your friends. You have to do it for your family. You have to do it for that. You have to do it for us. You have to do it for me. You're an irreplaceable, unique, honorable individual. You're courageous and brave and selfless, and we need you. We need you here, alive, today. So pick up the phone and make the call. Just do it right now. We'll be here, and we'll be looking for you.